HOA Karen claimed my niece trespassed on our lake estate, but she froze when we showed the deed. What would you do if someone tried to kick your niece off the land your family has owned for generations? Would you let slide? Stay quiet? Or would you grab the deed and remind them exactly whose name is carved into the shoreline? My name's Eli Granger. I'm a restoration architect and third-generation caretaker of our lake estate in Pine Hollow Valley, a quiet slice of heaven where my family's roots go back over a century. It's not flashy. The cabins are rustic, the dock creaks when it's windy, and the fish don't always bite, but it's ours. Every tree, every stone, every ripple in that lake carries a story. And that's why what happened with Karen made my blood boil. It started when my 12-year-old niece, Lily, came to stay with us for the summer. Sweetest kid alive. Smart. Quiet. Loves dragonflies and blueberry pancakes. Every morning after breakfast, she'd walk down to the dock barefoot, sit on the edge with her feet in the water, and fish in silence like it was therapy. One morning, I heard shouting. I stepped out and saw a woman stomping across my lawn, obese, blotchy-faced, lips pulled tight like a purse string. She wore a floral visor, an ill-fitting pastel pantsuit, and had a clipboard tucked under one arm like a weapon. You know the type. HOA Karen. She was yelling at Lily. "What do you think you're doing here, young lady? This is protected water access. You are trespassing." Lily froze. She looked up, confused and scared. "I'm just fishing. With my uncle." Karen snorted. "Don't lie. I know every lot owner in this development, and you're not one of them." By the time I got to the dock, Karen was already on the phone with someone, barking words like police, unauthorized minor, and removal order. "Excuse me," I said firmly. "That's my niece, and this is my land." Karen didn't even look at me. "If this really were your land, you'd be in violation of HOA Rule 14.5, no unattended minors on shared lakefront property." "It's not shared," I said. She rolled her eyes. "Everything past the birch line is under HOA jurisdiction now. The lake was annexed last year. Didn't you read the notices?" I narrowed my eyes. "Karen, my family dug the original canal system for this lake in 1923. There's a deed with our name on it, recorded, preserved, and notarized 3 times over." She crossed her arms. "Not according to my map." That's when I realized this wasn't just about a misunderstanding. She wasn't confused, she was power-tripping. Karen had only moved into the development a year ago, bought one of the new townhomes near the cul-de-sac on the East Bank, and apparently she'd made it her mission to restore order to the lake by treating every inch like HOA-controlled territory. That day, she issued me a $3,500 fine for unauthorized use of common shoreline. I didn't pay it. Instead, I went to the attic, pulled out the original Granger Lake Estate deed, dated 1931, revised in 1975, and reaffirmed in 2006 when I took over stewardship. I made copies. Then I called a neighbor. Then 2 more. Turns out, I wasn't the only one she tried to bully off their own property. We didn't just show up to the HOA board meeting. We stormed it with every legal document, historical plat map, and stamped county record in hand. Karen strutted into the community hall 30 minutes early, wearing a new pastel cardigan and dragging a folding cart full of what looked like self-printed bylaws. She tried to greet the neighbors with sugary, hello there smiles, but no one returned them. The room was cold like people had seen through her, finally. I waited until the board settled in. Then I walked to the front with a black case under my arm and calmly placed it on the table. Karen raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Granger, residents must submit documentation to the board at least 5 days prior to." "This isn't a suggestion," I said. "This is recorded legal ownership of the entire western shoreline, from marker post 6B to dock 9, including the land your so-called annexation overlaps. We never signed into the HOA and never were under its jurisdiction. And I have the original deed signed in ink by your HOA's founding developer's grandfather." The room went silent. I opened the case and laid out the maps. Laminated, notarized, time-stamped by the county. Everyone leaned in. Karen didn't. She just shook her head, flustered. "This is a forgery. The lake was made communal after the 2011 water rights update. That's when I dropped Twist 1. Actually, the 2011 update explicitly reaffirmed private water rights for original estate holders, per Code 48.17. I confirmed it with the county assessor this morning. He's right outside. I motioned toward the door. A man in a khaki shirt and badge stepped in. Assessor Clayton. He nodded to the room. We did a full review. The Granger family holds original title to that land, and the HOA's annexation map overlaps 3 properties illegally. The map was never filed with the county and has no legal standing. Karen looked like someone had pulled the earth out from under her chair. Still, she tried to recover. Even Sohi's niece wasn't supervised. That's a safety violation. That's when Twist 2 landed. Mrs. Harrington stood yuping 82-year-old widow who rarely speaks and said, "Karen, you yelled at a 12-year-old girl for fishing on her family's dock. Then you lied to the police. That's not safety. That's harassment." Another neighbor added, "You fined my son $500 for building a birdhouse. And you said my wind chimes were a violation of soundscape unity." Another chimed in. It was like the room woke up at once. People who had never spoken now stood up with their own stories, photos, texts, printed fines that were never voted on. Turns out, Karen had been running the HOA like a dictatorship, inventing rules and handing out punishments without board approval. Her bylaws were her own edits copied and pasted from a Florida retirement village PDF she downloaded online. The board turned on her instantly. A motion was raised to suspend her authority pending legal review. It passed 100. Karen stood, red-faced, sweat dripping down her temples. "You can't do this. I built this community." "No," I said, folding up my documents. "You bullied it." 3 weeks later, the county issued a formal correction to the HOA zoning map, reinstating the original estate boundaries. Karen was stripped of all titles, fined for falsifying regulatory claims, and banned from participating in HOA governance statewide for 5 years. She tried to appeal. Lost. Tried to run for a non-HOA advisory role. Denied. She quietly put her home up for sale and left town without saying goodbye. Now, Lily still fishes every morning. I built her a new bench on the dock with her name carved into the side. The neighbors wave to her when they paddle past. Some even bring her cookies. The air is calmer. The water's clearer. And near the edge of our property, I posted a sign. Nothing big. Just a piece of wood from the old cabin steps, hand-burned with a single line. We don't trespass on land we already own. So now I ask you, was Karen just enforcing the rules or rewriting them until they served no one but herself? True or false, you decide. The end.